Ever wondered what a nation's future looks like when it's all laid out on paper? Well, today that's exactly what we're digging into. We're unpacking the Rastriya Swatantra Party's Vachan Patra, their incredibly ambitious promise paper for Nepal. And let me tell you, this is more than just a list of goals. It's a full-on blueprint for change, and we're going to break down what it all means. Right off the bat, the cover itself gives us a huge clue. Just look at that subtitle, A Resolve to Establish Systems. That's the core idea right there. This whole document isn't just about making individual promises. It's about fundamentally rewiring how Nepal works from the ground up. So let's get into the key parts of that plan.
All right, here's how we're going to tackle this. First up, we'll look at the absolute foundation, their plan for governance. From there, we'll see how that supports their vision for the economy, social welfare, and some pretty massive infrastructure projects. And then, at the end, we'll step back and think about the one big question that ties it all together.
For them, everything starts here. The manifesto pretty much argues that without a clean, efficient government, none of the other big ideas can even get off the ground. So job number one is to tackle corruption head-on and completely streamline the state's machinery.
And if you want proof that they've thought this through systematically, here it is. The 100 Bases for Transformation. This isn't just some vague political talk. We're looking at a specific, numbered list of commitments that forms the very bedrock of their entire reform agenda. It covers everything.
So this slide really shows their two-pronged attack. On one hand, they want to look back with a massive retroactive investigation into officials' assets going all the way back 3 decades. But on the other hand, they want to leap into the future with a digital Nepal. And the idea is pretty simple, right? If you put everything online, every decision, every file, you make it a whole lot harder for that old-school corruption and red tape to survive. Okay, so once you have that foundation of cleaner governance, what's next? The economy. The strategy here is to double down on Nepal's natural strengths, like all that hydropower potential, while at the same time building a brand new, modern, tech-driven engine for growth. And the numbers they're talking about are just staggering. I mean, look at this one, a goal of generating 30,000 megawatts of electricity within a decade. To put that in perspective, that is a massive increase. It would not only make Nepal completely energy self-sufficient, but it would actually position it as a major energy exporter in the whole region. This here is their step-by-step roadmap for building that digital economy. It's a really comprehensive approach. It starts with the absolute basics, getting high-speed internet to everyone. From there, it's about creating the ecosystem, IT hubs, digital payments. And then, and this is so crucial, it's about knocking down the walls that hold back Nepali startups, like giving them access to international payment systems. All this talk about economic growth and good governance, it's all just a means to an end. This next section of the manifesto gets to that end goal, strengthening the social fabric of the nation by focusing on the health, the education, and the overall well-being of every single citizen. And here we have one of their biggest social promises. They are basically treating healthcare as a fundamental right, and the how is universal health insurance. The goal is simple but powerful. Make sure no one is left behind. If you can't afford the premium, the government pays it for you. I mean, think about what a fundamental shift this is. It's moving away from a system where one medical emergency could mean financial ruin for a family to a system where the state guarantees access to care for everybody. This also includes bringing services closer to people, with plans for advanced health posts in every single ward and a much bigger focus on preventive and mental health. When it comes to education, the vision is just as transformative. A key promise is to get the politics out of schools and universities, ending political appointments and making it all about merit. They're also setting this incredibly high bar of making public schools qualitatively better than private ones. And they want to reverse the brain drain by creating programs to actually attract Nepali talent back home. But look, none of this, not the economic growth, not the social services, is possible without the physical connections to tie it all together. And that brings us to the infrastructure vision, which outlines a massive push to build the roads, railways, and networks the country needs. What's really interesting here is how they're blending immediate action with a super long-term vision. The plan calls for launching a 25-year master plan within just 3 years, while also committing to enormous, concrete projects like the Mechi-Mahakali Electric Railway. So this isn't just about patching roads, it's about strategically planning the nation's entire development for the next half-century. So, after going through this incredibly detailed and, let's face it, ambitious document, a plan that maps out everything from anti-corruption measures to 50-year transport networks,
It all comes down to one final, really crucial thought.
We've seen the promises, and wow, are they comprehensive. There's a plan for a clean, digital government, a vision for an energy-rich, tech-driven economy, and a deep commitment to universal healthcare and world-class education. When you put it all together, it forms a very clear blueprint for a new Nepal. And this leaves us with the ultimate question, doesn't it? A question that applies not just to this party or this manifesto, but to any grand vision for the future. The blueprint is on the table. It's detailed. It's systematic. The challenge now is one of execution. How does a nation turn such ambitious promises on paper into real, tangible progress on the ground? Thank you for joining this explainer.